Here at Stronta Investigations, we firmly believe that the police finding a body on the beach as a result of David's observations and ringing the local police station came to the conclusion this was a tragic event, and it was reported in the media and in the local newspaper the following morning before anything had been really decided. It was a tragic event and she had drowned. For one moment we don't believe that as a suicide. It just doesn't compute. We've searched through thousands and thousands of drowning cases, and it is unusual, absolutely unusual, for anyone of that age, particularly female for some reason, to cast themselves into the sea at low tide, when in fact, if she'd walked out into the sea for another 100, 200 yards, the water would have still literally been no further than up to her knees. I find that implausible, and I'm sure you do too. In order to try and establish some kind of link with this, we contacted a guy in Orkney who is a management consultant for basically marine management and technology, that kind of thing. And we asked him, on the basis of the tide tables and the tides, air pressure, tidal heights, low tide, high tide, spring tides, neap tides, could he actually help and shed any light on this idea that she had walked into the sea at point A and been found the following morning at point B, drowned, face down on the beach. His assertion, based on all of the evidence that we could give him, based on basically map references between the 2 points, he provided us with a full, an absolutely full, including maps, response, and thankfully, according to this guy David in Orkney, who's the managing director of a very large company, said, quote, "We believe she was drowned where she was found." Now, that presents yet more problems because a number of scientific factors emerge. The first one is the diatom story. It is possible to rehab diatoms from seawater. Diatoms are almost microscopic. They can be seen quite clearly under a microscope. Organisms which exist in salt water and also exist in ordinary tap water and ordinary water from inland reservoirs and lakes. It's not uncommon to find diatoms in bone marrow, stomach linings, etc., etc. But there's a distinct and different discrepancy, shall we say, between those which are marine and those which are freshwater. In Annie's case, they only ever found 2 fustules of one particular diatom, which was a freshwater diatom. And the family asked 2 distinct and able scientists about this, both in Sweden and in, I believe, France, who came to the same conclusion that it was unusual to find this particular kind of diatom in a drowning person in the sea, because you would expect to find marine diatoms. We contacted another marine biologists in Newcastle University and said, what would we expect to find if somebody had drowned in seawater in terms of diatom concentration? And the response from Newcastle University was very simple. You would expect to find about 100,000 diatoms per litre of seawater. No question at all about that, because you get algae bloom and the similar kind of thing, diatom bloom, in early spring and in late summer, early autumn. So that would take us in the realms of October, November. And he said this was absolutely the case. So that's an interesting thing to ponder as well. Okay, so Annie drowned and she was found on the beach. Her body showed signs of lividity front and back. That means where the body's been lying and the blood pools as a result of gravity, and she'd flipped over, and she'd been lividity be found. The lividity had been found front and back. But that still doesn't explain how there are no diatoms in Annie's lungs. There is only one freshwater diatom in her bone marrow, and there are no evidence of any in the lungs and nasal cavities, in the bloodstream, stomach contents, of which, by the way, she had not eaten, it appears, since the previous day. This is a dilemma. Our contacts in Orkney said she was drowned where she was found, and there's every likelihood that she was drowned in fresh water and then dumped in the sea.